Hey, this is Ray Giles once again with a video series on how you're going to work with planning out your web project. What we're looking at are two sides to working with building your application. And we're going to spend about 15 minutes on each one of these topics. So the first video will be about site plan, how to set up a site plan. And it's going to be pretty simple. You're going to actually learn a little bit through Microsoft Word, which will help us out. That way you can use this to communicate with your web designers or your web programs. When it comes to web applications, we're going to talk about how to develop your app. If you need your app to function, that's where your website becomes more interesting, is when it through the functionality. We'll talk about flowcharts, and then we'll talk about what different applications you can possibly use that might suit you. There are many different apps that are out here that develop programs and work with websites. And what you should know first is know what you want. And this is where we go to work. Now, after this, then we'll get into how you actually execute that. But let's take a look first at how you might plan out your site. So here's some simple steps that we're going to apply for this one, okay? I'm going to scroll down in Microsoft Word. I'm going to click here because you can see where. Now, if you want to know how to insert a page in Microsoft Word, just go to Page Break, break that page, come down, and what I want you to look for in your computer is the Smart Art tab. You'll notice it right here. And what you're going to do is click that. Now, this is Microsoft Word 2016. I think this goes back to 2013. And what we're going to do is look for hierarchy. Okay, really simple. And then we're going to click the first one. There are many different designs, but what we really want is something simple to work with our information. And we're going to click that first right hand, which is called the organization chart. Click OK. And if you do this properly, I think this should show up. Now, if you're having trouble doing this, you can contact me and then we can see how this works. But right now, you're looking at this operation here for a hierarchical chart. Notice the bullet points on the side. Now, what we're going to do is take away this text box that you see here by clicking this, the sub arrow. This is an automatic, this is a default sub arrow that pops up for an indent. What we're going to do is deselect this guy, hitting the backspace twice and typing the word home just to get started on our project. Now, what this is your web project. This is what you want to use to design your site. You're going to say this is the home page at the top. Now, what I'm thinking in general is you want to be able to promote your business or your products. So we start there, but it's up to you to think about the details of this. And when this maps out, you will be able to give this to a web designer or somebody who's going to do the coding for you, and they'll have a good way of knowing what it is you expect. And the more you think about this, the more clearer they'll get a picture of how to create the infrastructure. And then what you do is you build out from there with images, copy, and things like that. So let's talk about that for a minute. I'm going to talk about us. Of course, you're going to mention yourself, and most of the time, you're putting your bio in there. Then we're going to talk about the services that the company provides. We'll also talk about the products, if there are products. You can list those guys out, and this depends on you. Now, let's think about this. Is this the only thing that we're offering? Maybe not. So what I would do is hit enter. This is what you can do. When you hit enter, you're going to be able to expand upon this easily, see? And then you can put in whatever you want. Now, usually we're talking about contacts. You have to give some people a place, the visitors, a place to contact you and get back in touch. And then there's another philosophy about how you're going to use your website for marketing and that. And those are topics that we are going to cover. But the idea right now is to just get a solid base on the infrastructure. So this is what we call word art. So we'll go on from here. Just go ahead and hit enter. Now, if you want something to be underneath one of these pages, for instance, I'll put contacts, but I might want to have one more, which might be my newsletter or blog. and I need something below products. So what I can do is stay in the bullet point area. You notice you want to click your bullet point area for this. You hit enter, and then you hit tab once. And then you get something like this, what they call a drop-down list. You see, you get that. And what you can do is put in your subcategories. Just put this here, product 1. And of course, if I hit enter, you can see you're going down, and it gets you set up for your future needs. That's an example, and of course you can do the same thing with services. Now my recommendation is you stay within your bullet points. I would not venture over here or move these boxes. Moving these boxes creates a whole new ball game. I've done it, and you know, I don't even want to show it. In fact, you know what? I'll show it to you right now. Let's say I wanted this to move, and I wanted services to be down here for some reason. Oh, it went down, but then when I want to put it back, that's where we get into a situation, you see, and then you're looking at causing issues that won't come back. Now, we do know by now, Microsoft Word has the undo, and the more I do this, the more undos I'm going to have to do. So what I'll do is I'll come back. But moving these boxes can cause this effect, and it might not be in our best interest, because the way that the layout is showing your process, you're really giving the designer the navigation. So let me just go back, and I'll show you another way that a layout could be created. That's a little too far, but now you can see more or less why. Yeah, that'll work. Now, in any case, if anything totally messes up easily, you delete, you go ahead, and you go back to that startup button and just start all over. And no need for fancy colors, but of course, I'll show you a little bit about what's possible when you want to make things a little different. But really, I would stick with just plain simplicity. So what we can do is have a clear communication to the developers of our project. Send me a comment below if you have any questions and want to learn a little bit more, or have any questions about some other projects. And we'll be going forward here by moving into the development applications plan of after you create your site plan. But first, the site plan. I don't think anything's built without a blueprint, and that's where we are with this. You know, you're creating your blueprint, and with EmpressNetworks.com, we'll help you guys out. All right, guys, this is Ray Giles. I look forward to talking to you soon about your project.